Hello, one and all. What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Grid Encore. My name is Brenden Crossland with Raceface Digital and Motorsports Hotspot here on another Motor Monday with good friend Matthew Owens visiting us with the Ultimate Sports Radio Network, filling in for our colleague Ben Schneider this evening. What's going on there in North Carolina, Matthew?
It's finally not 110 degrees with 93% humidity, so I consider that a win. Thanks for having me.
I think that would be a good win. Yeah, we officially can break out the fall garb around here in the southeast because for some reason we've been blessed with a cold front for the past 2 days in this part of the country. So yeah, we're all for it. And college football is high school football at that matter is calling my name. So looking forward to getting all that going here stateside. Before we get into the show, we'll start by thanking our Patreon supporters. Of course, you know their names very well and for good reason. Colin, Deshelle, Mark, Robin, David, and of course, Matthew. And he supports us so much that he'll drop in from time to time to say hello. So we thank you for that very much. And we really appreciate everyone who has invested in the Grid Network and consider joining them today if you'd like to see that, if you like what you see tonight from the show. You can also make a donation by using the Buy Me a Coffee or the YouTube Super Chat link if you're watching us live on the air, and put some in this cup here. We'd appreciate it. Every little amount helps us grow and continue to produce these shows each and every week. So before we jump into today's look back at Xfinity and ARCA for the weekend from the Iowa Speedway, let's start off with an open segment on some breaking news that actually just came out this afternoon, Matthew. Nice Motorsports announced they've released Kaden Honeycutt from the number 45 Chevrolet Silverado for the remainder of the 2025 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season, effective immediately. Honeycutt currently holds a provisional spot in the Truck Series playoffs with 2 races remaining. He sits 73 points above the cut line. In a statement, Nice said Honeycutt was released from his contract because he signed another contract to race for a different Truck Series team and manufacturer in 2026. They believe that making this change will now allow them to start building for the next year. For Friday's race coming up at Watkins Glen, Connor Zilisch will be back in the number 45 truck, who is set to do triple duty, which, man, I'm ready for that. He'll be in the number 88 for Junior Motorsports and Xfinity, and then to cap it all off on the Cup side on Sunday, and the number 87 Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet. After Watkins Glen, Bailey Curry will finish out the season for Nice in that truck. Honeycutt reacted to the news by posting a statement of his own, saying he'd like to thank Nice Motorsports, team owner Al Nice, general manager Cody Afal, crew chief Phil Gould, including Josh Morris with DQS and Jason Wilson and Precision Vehicle Logistics for the opportunity. He plans to remain in the Truck Series to finish out the year, contending for wins and positioning himself to make the playoffs. Bob Pockris from Fox Sports reports that Honeycutt will most likely, where he'll land in 2026, will be with the Toyota camp and Tricon Garage. Yeah, he also expects that Honeycutt will be able to find a ride to get through the playoffs, mentioning that Young's Motorsports could be a possibility for Watkins Glen. And then after that, Pockris suggests that Honeycutt could replace the injured Stuart Friesen in the number 52 Toyota Tundra, who, as you know, suffered an open book pelvis fracture and a fractured right leg in a big block modified dirt race last Monday night. Terrible accident there after our show ended. And also Cup Series regular Christopher Bell is replacing Friesen in Friday's Truck Series race at the Glen. So Matthew, were you caught off guard any by Nice Motorsports releasing Kaden Honeycutt at this point in the season? And if he does become a driver in the Toyota camp with Tricon Garage next year, how huge would that be for still his very young career?
Yeah, I was caught off guard. That's probably the best way to describe it. It's such an interesting report to hear that they released him because he signed with a rival team, rival OEM. I mean, I understand. I understand why maybe the team would be taken aback by that, but I mean, this is a chance to make the playoffs, and I get it that I don't know if anyone, certainly none of us, I'm sure, know what the money breakdown is when you make the Truck Series playoffs. With that said, I would imagine it would be still a massive amount of money at least to Nice Motorsports, to have a truck to make the playoffs. Not to say that it's not going to suddenly, but they're in position to do that, as you said. So just a little bit surprising to make this change so close to the postseason. Just 2 races left in their regular season before the playoffs start last weekend of August in Darlington. But yeah, it's surprising to me that they would make this change at this point of the season. And Kaden Honeycutt has been running really well here lately, as 3 finishes of 6th or better in the last 6 races. Obviously has himself in position to make the playoffs with how he's been running. So yeah, I think this whole thing is surprising. Now, to the follow-up on that, what happens to him if indeed he does go to Tricon Garage? Obviously, we know how well that team is running and how they're dominating the sport with the 11 team. Corey Heim's already wrapped up the regular season championship. So obviously that would be huge for him. And it would also be huge for him if he does land in that 52 truck to close out this season, because that's a truck that's already won a race, of course.
Right.
At Michigan, he can contend with that team. And goodness gracious, just thinking about how crazy that would be if he makes the playoffs in the 52 truck after spending most of the season with the 45. So he's running for the Drivers' Championship, but he's also running for the Owners' Championship, which the 52 is eligible for because of Friesen's Michigan win. How wild.
Yeah. It's pretty off guard for me, since how well he has been doing here this year in the Truck Series, and also I look at the driver profile of Kaden Honeycutt. You're talking about the defending Snowball Derby winner. This is not just the pay money driver. This is a cut his teeth the hard way sort of super late model racer, and able to make his way through and get to that Truck Series ride. So to see Nice Motorsports part ways with him because of just the transition from one manufacturer to the other, it's not as much of a sorry kid, you don't have the talent. It's more of a it's just business.
Yeah, I'm the business of the sport never stops. We know that, but that it's just very surprising, and obviously we'll see where they go from here. But we haven't seen something like this in a long time, maybe if ever, at least in the playoff era, of just the sequence of events that have fallen here.
Yeah, no doubt, and just to see that where he's going to go and how this story kind of came about too. It started through the old rumor mill, and we actually saw some NASCAR industry behind the Daily Down Fords, where this piece of information was kind of hinted at before it got to the hands of Bob Pockrass, or at least before Bob Pockrass put the information out. So I found that very interesting, and we might have to add. I don't want to give Down Fords too much credit, but at the same time, you'd be silly not to add them to the list of burner accounts that may or may not have some legitimate credibility in the NASCAR industry and in the rumor mill, because we've had some of these before that some names that I'm not going to mention here, but that have put things out in the ether that ended up being very true. But those identities are still kept safe. So we'll leave it right there on that. But yeah, Kaden Honeycutt gonna try to get some of that precious playoff money for his career here to end 2025, and whether it be at Tricon or with Halmar Friesen, we wish him all the best there, and Nice Motorsports also making it through this change as well. Let's move on to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but before we do that, yes, can't miss the GOAT, Matthew Owens. Thank you, Seth.
I don't think I have any pictures of goats back now. I don't have any pictures of Tom Brady or Jeff Gordon either, but carry on.
Adam chimes in. It was nice not to have to deal with hot weather in the Smoky Mountains today. I bet that was a pretty day. Continued prayers for Stuart Friesen, absolutely, and our hearts and prayers are with Friesen and family, as that was again a very horrific accident there that happened just in the closing moments or after our show ended here on Grid Encore. We'll move on to the NASCAR Xfinity Series and their second consecutive year there at Iowa. And Sam Mayer, the second year consecutive back anyway. Sam Mayer went on to victory lane in the Hawkeye State. Last year, he did it with Junior Motorsports. And this year, he's able to do it the same thing again there with Haas Factory Team. It's the first win for that organization since they rebranded from Stewart Haas Racing. So some big historical significance on the weekend for them as well. Late in the race, Mayer was chasing down Jesse Love for the lead until Love slid up the track as Mayer sped by underneath him. On the prior restart, there was a stack up, which resulted in Matt DiBenedetto running into the back of Corey Day and suffering heavy front end damage. DiBenedetto was dropping oil all over the track, and NASCAR didn't throw a caution until it was too late, which really angered Jamie McMurray in the booth on the CW side. By that time, Love drove through the oil, which caused him to slide up the track and lose the lead to Mayer, as Love wasn't able to get the lead back after that. However, the caution came out after Brandon Jones junked his car in that area of the track. And on the final lap, Garrett Smithley also joined the party and spun as well. But NASCAR immediately at that point threw a caution for that as Mayer took the checkered flag under the yellow. Were you disappointed in this late race officiating, Matthew? I mean, did it potentially cost? Are we talking about a potential Jesse Love win that just was thrown out the window? I'm kind of with Jamie McMurray here. That's kind of a shame that some things weren't done there a little sooner. But hindsight's always 20/20 with these things, and the officiating at different events, it can be a different pool of people each time we show up. So different opinions, I guess you could say, as to when the button needs to be smashed.
Yeah, I know us NASCAR fans, we love to harp on, we want consistency with cautions on when they're thrown and when they're held. But as we always hear when they get on Sirius XM and talk to everyone about how no accident is consistent, so we can't make consistent calls. We can believe that to a point, but it felt pretty obvious in the moment to everybody that the 99 car was dropping some kind of fluid, whether it was oil or whatever it was. It felt pretty obvious. The nose of the car jammed in through the stack up. He went all the way basically through 1 and 2 and then down the back stretch, smoking, more than likely dropping some kind of fluid. So, and I know when we were watching it live, I mean, we were on the call asking, why isn't there a caution? It was unbelievable that it took that long, basically, for everyone to make another full lap. And I get it; it's a quick lap, in the mid-20s, second lap, but that's plenty enough time for someone to say, we might want to throw a caution here, guys, because we're going to get back to that corner, and all chaos is going to break loose. Now, to your point of Jesse Love obviously didn't crash his car, but did skate up the racetrack in the fluid, in the oil, lost the lead and thus lost the race. It is a comparison to Casey Kane at Dover in the spring of 2004 when he was leading in the final laps there and Casey Mears was dropping oil all over the track. And by the next time Kane got to that portion of the track in turns 3 and 4, spun the car, hit the wall, and found another way to lose a race in his rookie season 21 years ago, if you could possibly believe that. So, yeah, I think Jesse and his fans have reason to be frustrated about this. With that said, he did have another restart. Obviously wasn't the control car. Obviously had to, didn't have to, chose to restart on the inside lane, which was not the preferred line for the restart on the front row. But he did have a chance. He did have another chance to take the lead back and just couldn't get it done. But obviously, a lot of that's because the 41, Sam Mayer, nailed the restart and had a really good car all day long. He may have been considered more of a contender throughout the race had he not overshot his pit box and fallen into traffic. He may have been up there leading laps and dominating the race. Now, about the Garrett Smithley spin, where the caution was immediately thrown on the last lap, also a head scratcher. Not sure it really played any impact. Mayer was on his way to winning by a very comfortable margin. But yes, another week of We would love consistency with the cautions, either being called or being held, and not getting it in key situations, which is disappointing. But what are we going to do about it?
I
Complain, I
mean,
guess.
yeah, that's what we'll do here on Mondays. But as much as I don't like the inconsistent points we have, at the end of the day, I do enjoy that. Like you said, Matthew, Sam Mayer was the dominant car for the day, and so to end up taking the win, it at least puts it to rest a little bit for me that, well, at least the fastest car of the day was able to get the right edge on the restart, and I was able to get the win. But yeah, we still have this potential cost of a win for Jesse Love somewhere in the fray, and then just on a different side, just immediately throwing the yellow for Garrett Smithley, and we had some of those sort of incidents on Sunday as well. Come to
Yeah.
think of it, I mean, for the Cup race, we had you got your Cody Ware caution, it's
Yeah.
just these like they're there to happen, and just all right, yellow, slow it down, boys, slow it down.
Yeah, he could have, and he continued easily. He was all the way down in the ball field, so he was not anywhere close to oncoming traffic. So, and then we ended up with 12 cautions, for goodness sake. So he's
On the Cup side, yeah. So this may be a surprise to some people, but Sam Mayer has been having a super strong and consistent season before getting his first win of the year here at Iowa. Looking at the regular season championship battle with 4 races remaining before the playoffs, only 70 points separate those top 4. Junior Motorsports teammates Justin Allgaier and Connor Zilisch are tied for that points lead, despite Zilisch missing Texas after his back injury suffered at Talladega. Zilich's quest for a 4th consecutive win ended when his tire changer didn't get the wheel tight enough after dominating stage 1 when he had to pit again for a loose wheel. While Zilisch was able to finish 4th at Iowa, getting stuck in that dirty air just made it difficult for him to fight his way back to the front. It was too little too late. Mayer is now 3rd in the standings after that victory, 16 points back, and Jesse Love is 4th, 70 points behind. Before the playoffs, we have 2 road courses coming up at Watkins Glen, and then we head to Portland International Raceway for a visit to Joe's neck of the woods, and then a super speedway at Daytona. And then the regular season finale is on a short oval in St. Louis at Gateway. Are you surprised that Sam Mayer is in a position to potentially win the regular season championship? And which driver, Matthew, do you think should be favored in these next 4 races coming up?
I do think there's a large level of surprise for a lot of people to see that he's so close. Now, if you're watching these races week in and week out, it shouldn't be a surprise. That 41 team has been really good all year. They just hadn't put the full race together to get the win. But they have 10 top 5s. That's nearly a top 5 in in half the races this year. We've run 22 races, top 10 times. The only reason he's not leading the championship is because Zilisch and Allgaier have 11 top 5s, and they're also having out-of-this-world seasons. But no, this 41 team is super good. They have been very consistent. Finally, they get the win to, I guess, announce to everyone how good they have been and make everyone realize that they've been this good. But no, this is not a surprise to see that he is in this regular season championship fight. 16 points between these top 3, as you said. That's an extremely tight margin. And you made a really good point about the road courses left in the regular season schedule with Watkins Glen and Portland. Everyone's going to write in Connor Zilisch as the heavy favorite to win those races, but Sam Mayer has won on a lot of road courses with the JRM team the past couple of years. So Zilisch would be what I would call the favorite, probably what everyone would call the favorite, just because of the amazing run. I mean, he got another top 5. What is that? 10 straight, I believe it is. He has not finished outside the top 5 since the race he missed, since coming back from injury, top 5 in every race. So yes, he's the favorite, but don't rule out Sam Mayer to possibly win one or both of these road courses and also be in the mix in that regular season finale at Gateway as well, a track very similar to Iowa.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. Sam Mayer's first Xfinity Series career victory came from Road America not too long ago, and it's been a very successful campaign for him on the lefts and rights. So he's got some good places ahead with Watkins Glen and Portland. But yeah, Connor Zilisch, he's still going to be the one you kind of have to be sure about, and who knows what sort of cup bleachers we're going to have come in the mix too, and mess up the part. Well, I say mess up, I mean enhance the party and give us some other things to talk about. Um, but I my memory, Matthew, has just been for as far as Xfinity Series racing has been so blurry since Nashville. But I do remember the top three there with with Allgaier getting the win. Not far behind him was those Haas Factory teammates, Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed. They were both up there uh, in the top of the finishing order in Lebanon. So they've just kind of sneakily been good without a victory. So we'll see how that goes here for the rest of the year, and maybe they can tilt some more heads their way. So we talked there about Sam Mayer and the potentially in a position to win the regular season championship. Let's talk about another one in the Ford camp. That's AM Racing's Harrison Burton. On the final restart, another one, by the way, that I think needs a little more credit. He shot out of a cannon and marched toward the front there, and ultimately finished fifth, scored 37 total points on the day, which puts him 11th in the playoff standings and 19 points above the cut line entering Watkins Glen. Remember, AM Racing has that technical alliance with Haas Factory Team. Thank you, Kobe, for that reminder. Is Harrison Burton and AM Racing exceeding your expectations this year? I'll just go ahead and say yes and yes, for me anyway.
Well, I think this is an interesting point, and it's a really good point that they have the alliance with the Haas Factory Team, because remember, and I know no one's going to sit and look at the Haas Factory Team and Ford as a whole and say, oh, woe is me, Ford, the big underdogs. But remember, Ford only has normally six cars on the track in an Xfinity Series race every weekend. I pulled up my notes from this weekend: 38 starters, 27 Chevrolets to just six Fords. So there's
Right.
not a lot. There's just not a lot of resources compared to Chevrolet that Ford or Toyota has on the Xfinity Series level. So we have to remember that when we go into these Xfinity races every Friday or Saturday. But to that Harrison Burton point, amazing weekend. He qualified extremely well, raced extremely well, was contending in top 5 or top 10 positions all day long. They needed a result like that to get above his cousin, Jeb, who had the antithesis of Harrison's weekend. Jeb, that car got off the truck and it was terrible. It qualified in the 30s. It ran in the 30s all day. So you have this huge swing on the cut line with the Burton cousins. But yes, this AM Racing team has been an amazing story all year long. Right off the start of the season, they have been punching well above their weight. And you give them a ton of credit for what they're doing. And, we talked about this too. Seth in the comments did the race with me Saturday. We talked about it at some point on Saturday about how people can say what they want about Harrison's win at Daytona in the Cup Series last year. We get it. It was a guy 30-something in points, winning a race on a drafting track, getting to the playoffs. But still, it was a big deal for this AM Racing team to get in the offseason a Cup Series winner, a Cup Series playoff driver, and maybe even more importantly to the point, a driver that was in the Xfinity Series once upon a time ago, running with a Joe Gibbs team that obviously is very good every week, and he won races with them, made championship runs with them. It was a big get for that team, and Harrison is really paying it off. And I thought back in February when we heard some clips from him doing some media, he came into this with the right attitude. He was not, oh, woe is me going back to the Xfinity Series. I don't want to be here. I'm just here until I can get back to Sundays. He went into this with the right attitude, and I think this is a great story for him and the team.
It sure is, and I don't mean to say that he's like that. AM Racing is a bad team because they've got this Haas Factory alliance, of course, but he still is outperforming that car. And I really don't see someone, um, some other Xfinity regular getting in that car and performing just as well. I don't think that would be the case. And you think about where they've come from just a short time ago with Haley Deegan in that car full time, and then parting ways with her at Chicago, and throwing some cup guys in there to hold it over, and kind of limping to the finish, I guess, as it were, for that year. And now solid with a guy who, like you said, got that win that some people just kind of shrug their shoulders at with Daytona, but it still takes a lot of class, a lot of skill to get something like that done. And he's an Xfinity talent from the past, right before COVID started. Got that win at Auto Club. Um, the kid knows how to get it done, and he's got things to prove, very similar to John Hunter Nemechek. And I'll say Nemechek for your sake, because I know that's how you say it. um, don't want to insult my brother by saying something different. So John Hunter Nemechek, kind of that same career path where, it came out of the gate strong with with a Cup team, and then went back down, and showing he can prove himself, still young enough to do that. And I remember thinking a lot about Harrison Burton in this season 2 of NASCAR Full Speed on Netflix, and I'm glad they took time to showcase him, even though most of his part of the show was about him, found out I'm not going to be in the Cup Series next year, so and so just him navigating that, but also being in the playoffs because he won at Daytona. So, but he's been doing really well at AM Racing. Their technical alliance has been helping them a ton, and they're all better for it. He's all better for it, and I see him coming back to the Cup Series sooner rather than later if this trend continues. Let's see where we're at since our last Encore show. Well, talking about driver switches, Colleague Racing parted ways with Josh Williams. Yes, the one that parked it in the infield and walked to pit road once upon a time. They plan to have multiple drivers in that number 11 Chevrolet to finish their season. So not something I expected at all. But for Iowa, Colleague called up Cup Series regular Carson Hocevar to help evaluate their Xfinity program. Hurricane Hocevar, as he was put this weekend by the broadcast booth. Welcome back, Lee Diffie. Got to say that too. Hocevar immediately turned heads after qualifying third in a car usually outside of the top 20. Then Hocevar finished 6th in the race, tying the best finish of the year for that number 11 camp. Cup Series regular and road course ace Michael McDowell will be in the car on Saturday at the Glen, and they'll bring in Justin Haley, what was announced for Daytona, actually. And it's been rumored that defending Supercars champion Will Brown will be in the number 11 when they make their way to the West Coast and Portland. Was Hocevar's results more so his ability to elevate a struggling team, or does it expose Josh Williams for his underperforming in that ride? Matthew on a Colleague rant.
Let's have a conversation about Colleague Racing.
Here we go.
Oh, my Lord. A few years ago, I feel like I was driving the Colleague bandwagon about how this team, this organization was doing everything right on the Xfinity Series level and the Cup Series level. They were the team of the future in my mind. The team of the future. That's a connected story to the Joe and John Hunter Nemechek, but we'll get back to that maybe. But they have just made really terrible decisions over and over and over for the last couple of years. And with all respect, and I know there's the meme, you say all due respect and then you say disrespectful things, but with all due respect to Josh Williams, he was hired and put in that car because of a theatrical stunt at Atlanta from a couple of years ago that you mentioned. Angry with NASCAR and their decision making, so he parks the car on the track and then walks to pit road, and he's playing with the crowd. And I mean, yeah, there's a group of people that believe something like that. Oh, that's so awesome. That's cool. Stick it to the man. Then there's the group of people that think, well, how stupid is that? What a ridiculous thing for a professional to do. Then you have the people that think, Well, no matter what I believe about that, I don't believe I would hire him to drive my car. Well, the people at Kaulig didn't think that way. And they thought, well, that's an attention getter. And he's going to have a massive fan base because of this. Well, I guess he did for 2 weeks. But he's going to have a massive fan base because of this. And this is going to pull in sponsors. And that's the kind of guy we want driving our cars. So they hire Josh Williams to do what? Seriously, to do what exactly? This season, an average finish of 20th. Last season, an average finish of, 22nd. I just don't understand where things are at Kaulig. And then all the shtick that goes on every single week when Chris Rice gets on Sirius XM and makes someone smile today, and we're in one welcome, and rainbows and unicorns skipping through a prairie of lilac and dandelions. This organization has gone downhill faster than the first wheel created by cavemen. This is really an embarrassment what's happening with this don't even get me started on putting Ty Dillon in the car full time again, and I know he made it to the final of the fantastical bracket. Nonsense, garbage. But this organization has been doing ridiculous things and making ridiculous decisions for a long time, and this was just a part of that line of ridiculous decision making. Am I surprised that they made the change at this point of the season? Perhaps I am. But at some point, you have to say, this isn't working. We have to eventually get results. And at this point of the season, the best way to get results is putting proven drivers like Carson Hocevar and whoever else. Michael McDowell's going to be great in that car on a road course. And see where your benchmark is. Now, what do they do in the playoffs, I think is going to be in the playoff races, is extremely intriguing to me, because you can't put a Cup regular in the car for the playoff races. So who they're going to put in that 11 car for the playoff races, I think, is going to be a very interesting question that we'll find out at some point. But
Kaz Gralla.
Oh, wow.
I'm putting one out there that I think is plausible.
Kaz Gralla has been a very solid driver for many years now.
He seems to be the favorite super sub as of late.
He seems to be, yes. But yeah, they had to do something, whether it be now or at the end of the season.
Yes, Ben. Well, we were going to get to some comments here, Matthew, but Ben is glad that he stayed up past midnight in London time for this rant with his cuppa. He's enjoying this very much. But jolly good. I'm expecting Frankie Muniz or Cletus McFarland.
I mean,
at this rate, right?
The way that they're going, yeah. Taylor Swift.
Yes, that is the Bell South 87 car with front row Joe Nemechek.
There you go.
Yes, in the Busch Series. And happy birthday to Jeff Gordon.
And yes, Harrison Burton turned left. Yes, Harrison Burton turns left. But yes, we don't like Lee Diffie in the booth, do we? Give me a break.
Ooh, that was fun. Well, welcome everyone. If you're joining us at the halfway point, this is Grid Encore, and we have just wrapped up our Xfinity Series talk. Let's look through that rundown once more and see what we can find. Of course, Sam Mayer taking the victory in the Hy-Vee Perks 250 at Iowa Speedway, and Harrison Burton there rounding out the top 5. And what could have been for Jesse Love? That's kind of what we've been talking about here at the beginning. A top 10 run for Carson Quaffle, Ryan Sieg, Sheldon Creed, and Christian Eckes as well. And looking further down the line, Austin Dillon making his Xfinity Series appearance with a hefty 14th.
You want to get me started on that? Now, that could be a whole other rant.
NASCAR Wheel and Modified star Justin Bonsignor with a nice 12th place run. And looking back there, you can see the rest there in the top 20. And going throughout the field at the other end, and see the rest there with Dawson Cram getting his last car article. Moving on now to the ARCA Menard Series. Back on Friday night, ARCA National ARCA East combo race there for Iowa Speedway, which, by the way, that spoiler, there goes my one shiny moment. It's got to go for this crowd. My goodness, did they
Yeah.
support their weekend? And it's a head scratcher for me on why the IndyCar weekend was not promoted in the same way, and why they need two separate accounts to promote the one track. I mean, it happens for other places, but anyway, that's beyond me. In Friday night's ARCA National ARCA East combo race, it was another win for, say it with me, Brenden Butterbean Queen, going to a Waffle House, which I don't know if they have that in Iowa. They might have to settle for a Skyline chili or something. It was his 5th win of the season as he continues to control the ARCA National Championship, holding a 33-point lead over Lawless Allen and 46 points over LeVar Scott. The win wasn't easy for Butterbean, though, as he and Brent Crews made late race contact, with both drivers getting sideways and sliding up the track. But the number 28 Pinnacle Racing Group Chevrolet prevailed. After Iowa, there's one race to go before crowning the ARCA East champion at Bristol on September the 11th. Isaac Kitzmiller leads Tyler Reif by 19 points, heading into that finale. What were some of your biggest takeaways here from the ARCA combo race here on Friday night?
Now hold on, where's the playoffs start in ARCA? Is that where they?
Oh no, it does. I'm afraid you're mistaken.
This may be the answer to our last question about who goes into that 11 car in the Xfinity Series for those playoff races. It may be Brenden Queen. What a season he's having. He had an average finish of like 5th. And as you said, 5 wins. He is turning into a superstar. I just think you look at him, given the right opportunity moving forward, whether it's trucks or Xfinity, he is going to start putting himself up the ladder because he's constantly getting these results. 25th at Talladega, caught up in whatever there, and every other race has been in the top 10, I believe. Maybe even 14th at Charlotte. So 14th at Charlotte, 25th at Talladega, and then all the other 10 races, he's been in the top 5. So he's been sensational, and no surprise to see him score another win. To your point, though, there was a tremendous crowd for that race Friday, and I know there's a lot of talk right now about Iowa. I think the writing is on the wall about Iowa not getting IndyCar back, but there is some talk now about Iowa maybe not getting NASCAR back next year for one reason or another. I hope that's not the case. Great crowd on Friday, nearly a sellout Saturday, and it was a sellout Sunday.
Okay, yes, Seth, the chase for the ARCA Menard Series.
Yes.
And someone put Ben to bed. he drank the wrong tea. Oh, no, take it back, please. There we go. No playoffs. No wonder Pete never talks about this series on TMD. You leave Pete Pistone out of this, okay? Please put me in timeout from the chat before I go full grade.
He kicked up another big firestorm on social media today or yesterday.
Did he really? I've been kind of absent here as of late, but
and it was not racing related, so just don't even get into it.
Come on, Ben, just go to bed. Okay, well, that would be the ARCA Menard Series combo, and we have some other news as well. We'll look at those results again of ARCA if we could, and see that rundown. Thank you very much. We talked about LeVar Scott. What about Isabella Robusto there with a 4th place finish? And looking further down, Zachary Tinkle with 12th. And nice rundown there for the combo race in the Atlas 150. And I still am a fan of how ARCA handles these the race naming rights. Using their core group of sponsors, which are many around the breadbasket area, the Midwest, and using all of them to name their races. It makes them feel a little more simpler for me, and I like that. It kind of reminds me of a simpler time. They're kind of keeping it simple there, which they also keep it simple if you think about it with the way they run their point system, which is kind of what we were talking about earlier. Also, before Friday's ARCA race, 17-year-old Brent Crews announced that he's starting up a brand new team in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series this Friday at Watkins Glen. So coming at you really quick. The team will be called Brent Crews Motorsports,
Hmm.
and he'll fill the number 70 Toyota Tundra, which will temporarily operate out of the Nitro Motorsports Trans Am shop. Very interesting there. In order for the young Toyota development driver to start up his own team, he sold his micro sprints and his TA2 car. So, big chunk of change there to get this operation going with the number 70. However, there's been a bit of controversy surrounding this whole situation. In the team's press release, Crews named Connor Zilisch, Jesse Love, and Jack Baldwin a part of his executive team to bring a forward thinking driver perspective to team leadership. This left people confused since Zilisch and Love are Chevrolet backed drivers. So, them being involved with the Toyota team just didn't make much sense from first glance. After a few hours after this announcement, we learned that while the new team is legitimate, Crews won't have his close friends involved in this new project. We'll find these public statements first from Brent Crews on X. Connor and Jesse are great friends of mine, but we went a little overboard in exaggerating their roles. To be clear, they have no official capacity other than they are friends who want me to do well. And then also from Connor Zilisch and Jesse Love, respectively. From Connor first, there was a misunderstanding in conversations with Brent's new truck team and me being an executive. I'm excited to cheer him on as a friend next weekend at Watkins, and I'm pumped to go for 4 in a row this weekend in Iowa with JRM, Chevy, and Trackhouse. Some damage control there, as you would expect. And also Jesse Love. There was a misunderstanding in conversations talking with Brent about me and Connor's involvement with his new truck team at Watkins Glen. We all share a strong friendship, but I just wanted to be clear, I'm not associated with any team outside of RCR or Chevy. So this is the next generation of NASCAR. Just be, they're bros, they're buddies. And they by the way, they're winning the social media game. They put out some of the funniest stuff you've seen all year, especially with the whole Connor Zilisch falls asleep everywhere he goes and Jesse Love catching him in the moment. Gotta love that. They're doing all the right things as far as having driver personality. If you ask me, they need to embrace that more, show it out more on the TV cameras as well. And that would make all the difference for maybe some of the older audience to follow them. But going back to this Brent Crews Motorsports thing there, do you suspect that Chevrolet was, just on damage control level here, Matthew? Or do you think maybe they were just very unhappy with Zilisch and Love? Maybe let them have it in the background. And if Brent Crews wants to start his new team, if he wants it to be taken seriously, how bad of a look it was to include false information in the press release about his friends joining the executive team. I think this is really just young men making young men mistakes.
Yeah, much ado about nothing. No, much ado about nothing. Maybe this happened while they were all sitting around the table at Chili's, like they were before the Dover race. Connor got drunk on strawberry lemonade again. They had a big skillet with the cookie and the ice cream, and they just got carried away. No, this is much ado about nothing. No reason for anyone to be, up in arms or fired about this, for goodness sakes.
No, and I think it's just damage control there from the manufacturer. Just like, I don't think they were yelling at them in the background. It was probably more of just, well, you got to correct it. You got to correct it, Jesse. Like, just, I don't know, say this, copy and paste.
Yeah,
right. You can say your own little thing, but copy and paste that RCR has nothing to do with this. Chevrolet has nothing to do with this, and we'll be fine. I think that's really all that was going on there. We have some more comments here, as a matter of fact. Let's see. Seth, been adopting the Josh Turner method of not going to sleep, I see. So that, Ben, expand the NCAA tournament.
Yes. Just let them all in. Let all 350, however many teams in. Come on. Well, just to heck with a regular season right now. Whole season is a 350 team bracket. Sure.
He says, in all seriousness, it's 12:41 here, so I'm going to catch the rest tomorrow morning. Thanks, Matthew, for filling in. Should be back for a while next Tuesday. So yes, we plan on having a grid encore next Tuesday to account for that jet lag there. But glad Ben is able to cross the pond there and visit some family. Some much needed reunion there. So yeah, we think that's much ado about nothing. That was a good way to put it there, Matthew, for that information. But curious to see that number 70 truck on track at Watkins Glen and the Brent Crews Motorsports making their way to the scene here very soon. So let's switch gears now to speaking of across the pond to Formula 3 and Formula 2 and look at the results from Hungary, starting with the Formula 3 sprint race. It was won by, bear with me here, Sanapol Anthropouvasak in his second sprint race victory of the year. He held off Ugu Uguchukwu and Charlie Wirtz, who took spots on the podium. The top three in the championship, Mari Boya and Rafael Camara, finished 7th and 8th, respectively, while Nikola Solov was 15th in the running order. In the feature race, history was made as Trident's Rafael Camara won the race and locked up the 2025 Formula 3 championship. And that's a good way to do it, right? Just go ahead and finish it right here, right now. Camara becomes the first driver in modern F3 competition to clinch the title before the final round of the season. This was also Trident's third straight Formula 3 title after winning with Gabriele Bortoleto in 2023, and then last year with Leonardo Fornaroli. Say that 3 times fast. While Ferrari junior driver Camara becoming the new F3 champion, look for the Brazilian to graduate to Formula 2 in 2026. Finishing behind Camara in the feature race was Mari Boya, who must be wondering what could have been if he didn't have a slow start to the season. Taking the final spot on the feature race podium was Tuukka Tepponen, and Formula 3 returns next month at Monza for the final race weekend of the 2025 season on September 6th and 7th. And it usually gets to that point anyway in the season where I really enjoy Formula 3, seeing them at Monza, and usually the championship's already put to bed anyway. Moving on to Formula 2, have Red Bull Junior driver Pepe Marta held off McLaren-backed driver Alex Dune to win the sprint race. This was Marti's third sprint race victory of the year after previously winning in Bahrain and Austria. Aston Martin Junior driver and American Jack Crawford took the final spot on the podium. Meanwhile, championship leader Leonardo Fornaroli was fifth and one position behind fourth place finisher Victor Martins. In the feature race, Fornaroli was victorious as the Italian maintains his championship lead. However, the win wasn't a guarantee because he received a 5-second time penalty for speeding on pit lane. But he built his gap to over 7 seconds over teammate Roman Stanek and ended up winning by 2.1 seconds and a 1-2 result for Invicta Racing. Jack Crawford got another third-place finish, and he's his second in the championship, 17 points back entering Monza, as the 20-year-old American hopes to prove himself to be on the new Cadillac F1 team, which is coming sooner rather than later, and those spots will have to be filled with 2 drivers, and hopefully we can get them to be American and try to make this an American Formula 1 team somehow, some way, even though the whole Andretti Global thing kind of didn't turn out like we hoped it might. But all that aside, we've enjoyed you being on here, Matthew, for today's Grid Encore. And thank you for being here on behalf of Ben Schneider. Let's take a look at our one shining moments. We'll go ahead and start with you since you're our guest. I'll flip that script and hand that to you right away.
By the way, why has the championship already been won in F3 before the season has ended? Why isn't there playoffs there either?
It's been a lot.
Why are people going to bother to watch the remaining races?
Because motorsport. For the love of the motorsport.
I'm just going to get this all out while Ben's not here. That everything should have playoffs. Okay. So we talked about the Iowa crowd. I'm going to let you dive deeper into that. So I really want to just mention some of these Xfinity Series teams that aren't getting the respect that they deserve. We talked earlier about Sam Mayer and that 41 team and how consistent they've been all year, and Harrison Burton now in a position to make the postseason. Ryan Sieg, Sieg is also going after a playoff spot here. But that 39 team, it feels like every single week. It truly does. It feels every single week that they're always starting at the back, don't qualify well, but at the end of stage 1 or in the middle of stage 2, he's already in the top 10. He has to have passed the most cars in that series all year long. Well, this week, Sieg qualifies extremely well, but spins with Austin Dillon on lap 2, lap 3, whatever it was. So basically, he starts at the back and moves his way up to finish 8th. Huge day for him to try to make the playoffs. And another one that I want to talk about is William Sawalich as well. He won almost everything he could possibly win en route to getting this Xfinity Series ride with Joe Gibbs Racing. A lot of expectations this season. Young driver, driving with JGR. Everyone thinks he's going to do what he's been doing, and that's just winning everything and win 4 or 5 races, whatever. Obviously, it was a terrible start to the season. It was pretty equivalent to how Brad Keselowski's season started in the Cup Series. But he's getting his arms around the car. He's getting his arms around his racecraft. He's getting his arms around everything about what it's like to be a driver in one of these big leagues. Chess missed out on a top 10 this weekend, finished 11th, but he had been in the top 10 the last 3 weeks. I just want to ring the bell for the 39 of the 18 teams, because quietly, Sawalich is really turning it around, and also quietly, Ryan Sieg is just, it truly does. Every week, it feels like he's passing 20, 30 cars.
That's absolutely right. And I've got to second you there. Ryan Sieg has been really impressive this year, and seems like anytime you look at him, he's up there fighting for good running order, and also passing a lot of cars. I wish we did have that stat is probably hanging around somewhere where we can see.
We have a stat for everything. Surely it's somewhere.
Yeah, Seth, can you help us out here? We'll call Mina. Call Mina and see if she has a stat to back that up for Sieg. We'll have to see if he's the fast charger of the day. John Kernan's gonna get me canceled if I keep making it an accent. Well, for playoffs in Formula 3, press the red button on your remote. So press the red button. See all the channels.
Very good, very good. Yes, John Kernan, very respected media member for many years, many years. He's certainly not an idiot, but he definitely said an idiotic thing. Oh well. Right
then, I'm gonna carry along and get to what I would like to harp on some Cup teams, because I'm not on the I'm not on the Sunday evening shows. So I gotta once again tip my hat to RFK, Brad Keselowski, specifically for his performance there at Iowa. It didn't work out there in the end, but that team, if Keselowski, it used to be where they came in twos, where Keselowski and Chris Buescher were working well at the same time, but for some reason or another, you see Keselowski doing well, and the one that's been doing so well for them this year, Ryan Preece, is off the lead lap when this is happening. So can't win for losing, I guess. But that they slowly but surely are making some good moves here, and I just on the sidelines wishing all the best for the great RFK comeback, and whatever that looks like to you. I think to me that is Brad Keselowski finally returning to victory lane, and just wishing that for him as a member of the media, and also just a race fan, to see him come back to full form. And also got to talk about Legacy Motor Club and John Hunter Nemechek, and his performance yesterday at Iowa, keeping it up there. Of course, Eric Jones, some days he's got some good finishes where John Hunter definitely doesn't, but this is not one of those days. The 42 was the better car there, and that was great to see as well. And yes, I said it earlier, Iowa Speedway showing up, and the fans of the Des Moines and Newton area, it's all corn, but that whole area showing up, that region showing up for NASCAR was absolutely amazing, and was on vacation last year when we had our inaugural Cup event there. So I can't say what that crowd looked like there, but I do remember Lee Diffie talking about how hot it's always been when he's been there for even sports cars and IndyCar and everything. So the Lord blessed us with the perfect temp and the 70. It was like the 74 and sunny sort of affair, and great all around for the race fans. And every seat had a butt in it, so can't complain there. Wish there was a singular. I'm not a social media expert, but I do run it for two radio stations here, so I'd like to think I know something about it by now, and just wish that the IndyCar promotion for Iowa was doing better than the NASCAR. But, you see it work for places here like Nashville, though they have separate accounts for the Music City Grand Prix and for the Cup side. But to each their own, and just hope that works out. But you'll always see me putting one shiny moments for crowd size here every single time.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to speak out of turn on this, and I'm not reporting anything. I'm not a reporter for sure, but there has been, so last week all the conversation was about 70,000 at Indianapolis, but of course it looked empty because Indianapolis holds 300,000 and all of this. Then we come to Iowa and they get 30,000 and everyone's like, what a great crowd. And it is a sellout crowd. But there was, and I can't remember who it was, I can't cite the source, but there was conversations today about how last year they put up temporary grandstands for this Cup weekend at Iowa last year, and it all got sold out, and they had 40,000+ people there last year. This year they didn't put in the temporary grandstands, just what is there, and they sold out about 30,000. And that's why people are kind of trying to read between the lines on whether Iowa's even going to be back on the Cup schedule or the NASCAR schedule next year. And I believe it would be a real disservice to not have Iowa back next year for Cup and Xfinity at the very least, because they're always selling the place out for these NASCAR weekends. They're always showing all of this excitement to have NASCAR there. There's no professional sports in Iowa, right? NASCAR is it. It's either NASCAR or what was then IndyCar. What was IndyCar, at Iowa. I think it would be a mistake to leave Iowa.
Yeah, it'd be a disservice for that region of the country, and that the I Cubs can only go so far. I mean, you got to have professional sports, and so that's good for the Des Moines market to have that, and also the Quad Cities, whatever you call it over there. Good for them to have that, and hope it continues. And yeah, I kind of forgot about that report about the temporary stands, and yeah, that's something I hope they can continue to support there in Iowa. Well, with that is all we have for tonight's Grid Encore show, and be sure to follow at Grid Network TV on all of our social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by the same name, Grid Network TV, and visit our relaunched website, which also is that same phrase there, gridnetworktv.com. That's gridnetworktv.com for our latest content, and always some great stuff there on that website. Thanks to our staff there, and latest content also on our YouTube channel. As I said at the start of the show, if you really like what you saw tonight, you can take a few moments, just a few minutes actually, to consider joining our Patreon supporters, Colin, Deshelle, Mark, Robin, David, and Matthew, who have all helped us grow our motorsports media outlet here over the years on Grid. If you'd rather do a one-time donation instead, perfectly fine. We have Buy Me a Coffee, or even our YouTube Super Chat option here right now if you're watching us live, or other good ways. Those are other good ways as well to contribute to the Grid Network. Looking ahead to our upcoming schedule this week, you're in for a treat. Kobe and Matt will be back on Wednesday for Grid Tonight, and then you can stay tuned for our Grid Live pre-race show format, previewing IndyCar at Portland, and then NASCAR coming back to the Empire State for Watkins Glen. And then early next week, we'll be back on our Monday. Well, I think it's going to be Tuesday night. We've confirmed that now to recap ARCA, Trucks, and Xfinity from Watkins Glen, plus Indy Next action from Portland. Matthew, thank you again for taking some time to be with us here tonight, and for Seth to pick at you. I know you're just looking for all opportunities for him to do that. So any last words before we call it a night?
Great to be on, as always. Love hopping on whenever I have the opportunity. Thanks for the call. And I will be watching along next Tuesday and this Wednesday as well, and throughout the weekend.
Good news there, and I want to thank Kobe and Joe for helping me along whenever Ben is out, and allowing him to take weekends like this, and allowing me from time to time to be away as well. Just thank the entire crew here at Grid that do an awesome job. For Matthew Owens from the Ultimate Sports Radio Network, I'm Brenden Crossland, and thank you so much for watching Encore this week. And as always, we'll see you next time right here on Grid Network.
Thank you.